Beer Geeks. I'm Chris Cohen.
I'm Chris Crowe.
We are both advanced Cicerones. We are both with Beer Scholar. And today we're doing a style comparison of the variety that you may see on the tasting section of the Certified Cicerone exam. Comparing two beers that a lot of people have trouble picking apart. And that is a classic Saison and a classic Witbier. So here we've got the archetypical Saison Dupont, beloved by all, pretty much all.
Universally beloved.
Everybody likes it.
Nobody doesn't like it. If they say they do,
they're crazy or they're lying.
Yeah, study more.
And Allagash White, kind of the same deal. Huge fan base. Everyone loves it.
Huge. A lot of people's perfect beer.
Yeah.
Just at any time.
It's a solid desert island beer. So when you take your test, you're going to be using glasses like this. They're going to give you glasses like this. We're going to use these cute little tasters instead.
Yeah, we're dressing it up in here. We're doing these little Cadillac
We're not
tasters.
taking a test. We can keep it sexy. So, okay. So how do you tell these apart when you don't actually have the bottle sitting in front of you and you didn't just pour them for yourself? When you're sitting there on the test, your proctor or whatever brings you just a glass full of beer that looks kind of pale. You look at the answer sheet and it says Wit or Saison, and then maybe something else, but we're just going to go Wit and Saison here.
Yep.
And okay. First thing is what are the kind of highlight characteristics that should jump out at you when you're talking wit beer?
When you're talking wit beer, I think we go straight to coriander, right? Mm-hmm. Traditional wit beer is brewed with cracked coriander and orange peel, specifically most traditionally Curacao orange peel.
Yep.
And
a bitter orange, I believe.
Yeah, bitter orange. And then, it can range a little bit in the actual wheat content of the grist, but that's like another main. I would say the three main characteristics are coriander, orange peel, and then the usage of wheat. Yeah,
and so Saison, we're looking at a different kind of spice characteristic. With wit beer, you've got coriander, and it's actually added. It's not like it doesn't come from the yeast. With Saison, the yeast produces a peppery characteristic, described usually as like white pepper or black pepper. And that is the big headline thing that's going to jump out at you when you first smell a Saison. At the next level, if you need to take it there, Saison does tend to come across as a little more dry and more bitter, whereas a wit beer comes across as a little softer and kind of a little more touch of sweetness. It just isn't as highly hopped for bitterness.
Especially just in comparison when you're thinking about these two specific styles.
Right. Neither of them are going to seem bitter next to a double IPA, but compared to each other, Saisons can get pretty hoppy, actually. Can get pretty bitter. So anyway, if you're sitting there on the test and you're given this question, you're basically, the big picture thing you're going to look for, and the thing that you should get good at before you show up for the test by practicing, is looking for that spice characteristic.
Yeah, and it's important to note, like in the BJCP, when they say, one way to tell the difference between these is whether or not the spice character comes from yeast or an addition. We're a little bit less concerned with that when you're thinking about picking which style it is for an exam setting, because you need to know the character of the spice, not necessarily where it comes from.
Right.
So get good at pick up some coriander. If you don't have any in your spice cabinet, grab some.
Yeah, it's very citrusy and lemony.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really know what it smells like, but it's brighter than you think. It's got a lot of the same compounds as some really fruity hop character, citrusy, lemony, and it's actually carrying a lot of that really smooth citrus character of wit beer. When
you smell these next to each other, just smelling them right now, wildly different. By the time you get to the test, you should be able to not even, if you practice enough, you don't even need to take a sip. You'll probably be able to swirl that beer in this glass, give it a sniff, and say, oh, yeah, that's a wit beer, or that's definitely a Saison. And one quick tip before we go, Don't get desperate and start using like color and stuff like that to try and figure this out. Don't look at the beer. Don't use visual cues. If you do that, you're just getting desperate and making a guess. Just don't do that. Just learn to actually taste the beer and smell it and figure out which it is.
Well, and I tell you what, you can, if you're using that as a backfall when you study, it's a lot different when you sit down and you just have the one beer.
Right.
You know, if I show you these right now, you can tell the difference in color between those. But when your exam score is on the line and you're just sitting with this, how pale actually is this?
Right.
Is it just dark enough to be a... No, those are external mind games you shouldn't be playing with yourself. Nope. What does it smell like and what does it taste like?
Yep, you pick it up, you swirl it, take a sniff. Are you getting coriander or are you getting black pepper? Boom. Free points. All right, man. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks for watching.
Good luck.